Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the opening night of the Advanced Mobility Projects Beyond the Connected Vehicle Conference. I'm Gary Gothier, and I'll be your MC for tonight. We have a program I know you will find most interesting and thought-provoking, but first a few housekeeping items. Detroit Public TV is taping tonight's presentation for playback during our program tomorrow. Therefore, we ask that you stay in the room through the whole evening presentation unless you absolutely have to leave. Applause is appreciated, but please no standing ovation, it blocks the TV cameras. Wi-Fi is available here, it's under the AMP conference. Restrooms are located out at the atrium and to the left. Emergency exits are at the back of the theater and at the front of the stage. Please turn off or silence all cell phones or mobile devices. And let me introduce our first speaker. Please welcome our first speaker tonight, Gene Redfield, President and CEO of NextEnergy. Gene's experience includes multiple leadership roles at DTE Energy, consulting roles at McKinsey. Her work has primarily been setting strategy and leading major change initiatives for companies in such industries as aerospace defense, banking, chemicals, pharmaceuticals and biotech, and energy. Gene holds a BA in biology from Washington University, a BS in civil engineering from the University of Memphis, and an MBA from the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School. Ladies and gentlemen, Gene Redfield.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it. Well, welcome. We're really excited to have you all here tonight, really excited about what we've got in store for you over the next couple of days. So I'm going to kick things off, mostly just to kind of set the stage. We're going to talk a little bit about NextEnergy, what we do, and why we think advanced mobility is so important. First, who we are. NextEnergy is one of the leading energy technology accelerators in the United States. And we work at the level of individual technologies, businesses, and whole industry sectors. We were founded back in 2002 with the express purpose of driving investment in advanced energy technologies in Michigan.
Thank you.
We think about ourselves as the people. We've got a diverse group of folks coming from a number of different industries and a whole range of capabilities from right out of Ivy League colleges to very experienced third, fourth career professionals. Our place, the NextEnergy Center, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit, and our relationships. Our relationships are key because how we do our work is why we're so impactful. We work by serving as a catalyst among players from all over industry, government, and university and national lab research organizations. And it's through convening and creating partnerships that we have our impact. So relationships are key. What do? Well, the number one thing we do is accelerate investment. And we do that in three ways. First, we provide services. Secondly, we host demonstrations and commercialization programs here at the center. And the third thing we do is provide input to policy. Not because we're a bunch of policy wonks, not because we're lobbyists, but we know that transportation and energy are both heavily influenced by policy. And if we're not connected to the policymakers in ways that are helpful, then we're not going to be doing our job of accelerating commercializations of next generation technologies. What's most important about what we do is how we do it. We spend a lot of time and energy on upstream investigation. We have a whole toolkit of analytical tools to help us really investigate what's next in advanced energy. We do value chain mapping and technology road mapping and market research and assessments of technology pipelines and really understanding investment strategies. Who's putting money where and why to commercialize technologies? And all of that, we assess the market trends and we identify those market-based opportunities for Michigan-based enterprises. And we don't do that in just one industry sector. We've done it in several industry sectors because we're not about going deep in a single technology. We're about applying a methodology to really thinking about what are the economic opportunities in next generation technologies. And we've done this, we started with renewables. We've worked in energy efficiency, energy storage, power electronics, and now we're moving from our vehicle electrification work into new mobility. We then provide services to technologists, companies, and established industry players, and a whole host of services. Plain old business consulting, helping companies with their core business strategy, their go-to-market plans, those first product developments and introductions. We do a lot of work with technology vetting. Does it work? Does it matter if it works? What's the value in the marketplace versus existing ways to approach that problem? Or is it actually solving a new problem, meeting an unmet need? We do provide a lot of work around access to funding, creating partnerships and matchmaking, and actually preparing technologists and young companies to be qualified to receive funding, whether it's grants or whether it's that first round of angel or VC investment. And then we provide market research and promotional support, not so much for individual companies, but for whole industry clusters. Nascent industry clusters that need to be working together at the outset to be defining where that industry future direction may be. Our last three sets of services have to do with our place, so we'll talk about our center a little bit. The NextEnergy Center is a 2.8-acre campus here in Midtown Detroit, and we're sitting right in the middle of Detroit's innovation corridor. In the 3 miles from Campus Marshes to up above Henry Ford Health System, there's more IP, engineering, PhD, and doctor talent than almost anywhere else on the planet. And we're right here in the middle of it. Our center is a pretty unique space. First, we have great convening space. We bring together industry players, local, state, and national leaders, the national labs, entrepreneurs, and folks coming out of the universities, bringing them together to work on next generation technologies, bringing them together to seed each other in what do we need to do more of, what do we need to do faster to accelerate commercialization.
Almost 50% of the market.
The other thing we do at the center is we have about 18,000 square foot of lab space where companies can incubate their own businesses, their own technologies in our space. We've got 8 labs. This just happens to be a picture of NextTech's lab. NextTech is one of the lab partners that's incubating here. And hopefully you'll get a chance to meet and talk with them. They've got a table out in the atrium. We'll have lab tours, and they're one of our key partners in our Next Home demonstration platform, which brings us to the third thing that we do here at the center, and that's our testing and demonstration platforms. NextEnergy was constructed in order to facilitate testing and demonstration of advanced energy technologies. Energy and transportation technologies are typically pretty long to market for 2 main reasons. One, they tend to need to have to work as part of a system. Any new product that's going into a transportation or energy end use is likely to be part of a system, and being able to be demonstrated or tested in that system is key. And the second piece is it tends to be asset intensive, very infrastructure intensive. So the nice thing about NextEnergy is that we provide some of that basic infrastructure for testing new technologies.
That's good.
And we build the public-private partnerships that allow us to continue to reinvest in very specific demonstration capability here at the center. A couple of the demonstration platforms that are key to the work that we do is first starting with our microgrid pavilion. We were one of the first microgrid research pavilions in the country.
That's right.
And what we're able to do out there is mimic any power infrastructure on the planet by varying frequency and voltage, even simulating outages and disruptions to the grid in our microgrid pavilion. So what that allows us to do is when global players come to test their product, they're not testing it just on a North American system. They can test it on an Asian or European infrastructure. If the product is about resiliency, providing a higher than local grid power reliability, we can simulate a less than reliable grid for them to test and prove out their technology. That's the microgrid pavilion. One of the other platforms here is our alternative fuel platform. Our early work was in hydrogen fuel cells and biofuels, and the AFP was an important asset to allow those technology developers to test their products. It also allowed us to convene hydrogen fuel standards working groups, because one of the big challenges to penetration of alternative fuels was infrastructure, and setting standards for infrastructure development was key. One of our other platforms here involves electric vehicle infrastructure. We have a number of different kinds of charging stations, ranging from commercially available off-the-shelf type product to very advanced future stage development products. Here at NextEnergy, we've tested bidirectional charging, we've tested vehicle-to-grid commerce applications, and we've tested DC and high voltage fast charge capabilities. And then our last platform that I'm going to talk about is something that we call Next Home, and it's a brand new baby. Our soft launch is today and tomorrow, so hopefully you'll get a chance to tour it. But what Next Home is a living laboratory to test energy efficiency and connected technologies in a residential setting. It's a DC-powered home that'll allow locally generated PV solar power to be used within the home by DC appliances, DC consumer electronics, DC charging, and then connectivity between the vehicle and via the charging station. In addition, we have the basic ICT, information and communications technologies, to allow some of the software controls applications to be tested. How do I actually interface between my vehicle and my building management system of my home to do things like set my temperature, make sure my lights are on or off, even check whether the coffee pot is off. That's the kind of thing that we'll be able to do at Next Home at the Living Lab. So be sure to get a tour there. So basically, the work that we do here is really a whole series of collaborative demonstrations. In addition to the platforms, in the facility itself, we have advanced building energy management systems. We're demonstrating a number of locally developed solid-state and artificial daylighting technologies. I mentioned briefly our vehicle-to-grid commerce programs, and then we're growing in our connected vehicles work here at the center. So that's our center. Our impact, we think, has been pretty remarkable. We've been in business a little over 10 years, and in those first 10 years, we worked with hundreds of companies. We worked with all of the major universities in Michigan, as well as a couple of the others that are known for their advanced energy programs, East Coast, West Coast, and a couple guys in the South. We've worked with a number of federal agencies, the DOE, the DOD, the EPA, Department of Commerce, even the Department of Labor. And that's an important one, because a big piece about future technologies is talent. And so working with Department of Labor and Wayne State University on curriculum development, certification programs, and advanced degree programs were some of our earliest work. Again, if our business is about accelerating next generation technologies, it's not just the IP, it's not just the infrastructure, it's not just the products, it's the talent to support all of that. And that's a big piece of what we've done. We've also worked with a number of philanthropic organizations and have enjoyed great support from folks like the Kresge Foundation and the New Economy Initiative, as well as the Energy Foundation. And through that and our primary partner, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, we've been able to attract over $1.3 billion to Michigan enterprises in advanced energy. And we've been able to attract about $150 million in program funding to NextEnergy. Talking about just the last couple of years, we spent some time with 44 of our companies, startups and small businesses, and those 44 companies have been able to develop 443 patents, copyrights, and trademarks. They entered into 91 new licensing agreements. They introduced 67 new products. They were able to attract $115 million in new funding, over half of which came from the private sector. They won $169 million in new business, new sales, and then they had to invest over $89 million in plant and capital expansions to support that new business, for a total of about 383 jobs created or retained. For those of you in the auto business, these numbers may sound small. For people in startups, this is a great track record. Okay, enough about NextEnergy. Let's talk about the Advanced Mobility Project. We're really excited to be partnering with the AutoBeat Group on this important initiative. Beyond the Connected Vehicle is the first event associated with that project, and the whole intent of Advanced Mobility Project is to bring the automotive industry together with the other auxiliary industries that are working around the vehicle to move it forward into a connected vehicle advanced mobility space. So what is advanced mobility? For NextEnergy, it's about a system of systems that moves people, goods, information, and energy efficiently. And it's because it's that system of systems that AMP is so important, because the auto industry cannot do it on their own. The information, communications, and controls technologies and the consumer apps development, if you will, the consumer experience and the customized apps are important aspects of advanced mobility solutions. So that system of systems concept is key when we think about advanced mobility. Why is advanced mobility important? For NextEnergy, it's important because it's already here. The key drivers behind advanced mobility are very real, very current, and already in place. The first key driver is population growth and urbanization. There are already 7 billion people on the planet, and we've already passed the tipping point where half of those people live in cities. We expect to grow to 9 billion people on the planet. We know that the mobility needs of 9 billion people, mostly living in cities, will not be met by personal auto ownership. Or if we even try to meet them that way, the resource scarcity and environmental degradation will be untenable. So given those two drivers and the potential for incredibly overstrained infrastructure that traditional auto-based mobility solutions imply, coupled with the maturation of the ICT and the proliferation of smartphones, we think those 5 drivers come together to say advanced mobility is already here. The drivers are in place and they're accelerating. In addition to those hard trends, there's a number of soft trends driving advanced mobility. The primary one being consumer behavior shifts. Believe it or not, those of us that sit in Michigan know it's hard to imagine, but there are plenty of people on the planet that actually don't want to own a car. And even in our country, the millennials and the aging population may have other preferences. So that consumer behavior shift is also a driver behind advanced mobility solutions. In addition, a number of new collaborative-based business models for consumption are evolving. Shared services, barter, fee-for-service models versus asset ownership are emerging as really profound business models, and those are supporting advanced mobility solutions. And then the last two, the convergence with other industries, software apps and ICT, coupled with the multimodal connected transportation systems, are additional trends driving advanced mobility. So we think advanced mobility is very real. Why is NextEnergy working in advanced mobility space? After all, our job is to drive investment in advanced energy technologies. Well, there's a number of really good reasons. One is that we're being asked to. We're being recognized as a very forward-leaning, forward-looking innovation center, really focused on what's next. And our history of taking a multi-industry, multi-technology-based solution at the heart of what we do is proving to be applicable in the advanced mobility space. In addition to that, we see a number of very common technology platforms between mobility and energy. A number of the same technologies that are moving the energy industry forward: energy storage, power electronics, power conditioning controls, sensors and process controls, ICT and connectivity to support all of that. They're the underscore baseline in the energy future, and they're the platforms for the transportation future and advanced mobility. In addition, we see the advanced mobility future is really being driven by collaboration and public-private partnerships. We know that no single player will be able to get it done. We know that there won't be one single killer app or killer product that's going to satisfy mobility needs of a planet with 9 billion people. It'll be through collaborations and different approaches to infrastructure and different kinds of partnerships between private market-driven solutions and publicly supported infrastructure plays that are going to transform our mobility future. And that collaboration and public-private partnership is one of NextEnergy's sweet spots. And then the last reason why NextEnergy is stepping into the advanced mobility space is because we see it as critical to the economic future of this region. Given our roots in driving investment in energy technologies in Michigan, we see that the future around advanced mobility is important to our economic future. There is no doubt that Southeast Michigan is the auto capital of the world. The number of development facilities that are here, the IP and innovation that occurs here, the number of engineering and inventions that happen here in the auto world put us on the map as the auto capital of the world. But we also know that if we don't successfully transform ourselves into the global center for advanced mobility, there's a real risk that in our lifetime, we will be serving niche markets. It's that important to our economic future. So that's why NextEnergy is excited about the Advanced Mobility Project, and that's why we're excited about bringing together the IBMs, the Ciscos, the GMs, and all of the little companies, the startups, the small and medium enterprises that are nimbly moving to invent and innovate those future service offerings that are going to address the mobility needs of the planet. So that's a little bit of an overview about NextEnergy. We're excited to have you here for the Beyond the Connected Vehicle event. It's going to be an interesting evening tonight and then a great day tomorrow. Tonight, we've kind of lined up those provocative new business model folks that are going to challenge the way we think about mobility a little bit. It's not about the device, it's about the value to the customer. And they're going to talk about how do they deliver that value in different ways. Tomorrow, we've got a whole range of keynotes and panels that'll be exploring those provocative topics about how do we move from an auto community to the global center for advanced mobility. What are the challenges, what are the opportunities, and what are the ways we need to work differently together moving forward? So at this time, I think I'm going to turn it back to Gary Gauthier, and he's going to get our evening started for us. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair.